Hello everyone, welcome to Math 1314 video lesson. This is a special topic video. What I'm going to address here are rational equations with large denominators. Okay, let's first review. Say we had this equation. 4 over 5x is less than 3/7 minus 2 over 5x. This is a rational equation, inequality, so you treat them the same way you do equals. So whenever you have fractions and an equal sign, you follow these steps. First, find the LCD. In this case, since 7 and 5 are both prime numbers, the easiest way to find the LCD is do 5 times 7 equals 35. So the LCD is 35. Second step, multiply the LCD to each term. There's a term, there's a term, there's a term. So multiply 35 to each of these. Three over 7 minus 35, 2 over 5x. Third step, whenever you have fractions and you're multiplying, always reduce before you actually multiply. So, how many times does 5 go into 35? 7. Well, if you have trouble with that part, the easiest way to see that is, since 35 was made from 5 times 7, if you get rid of the 5, you're left with 7. That goes up on top. 7 goes into 35, well, get rid of the 7. You're left with 5. So 7 goes into 35 5 times. Again, 5 goes into 35, cover the 5, 7. So we have 7 times 4x is less than 5 times 3 minus 7 times 2x. So after we get rid of the fractions, now it's just what we're used to. Multiply to get rid of the parentheses, and then solve the equation. So 7 times 4 is 28x, less than 5 times 3 is 15, minus 7 times 2 is 14. Next. Okay, now we solve. Since we have x's on both sides, move the smaller to the larger. This one's negative 14, this one's positive 28. So we add 14x to both sides. So we did that to get rid of that one, because we want all the x's on one side. So 28 plus 14, 8 plus 4 is 12, there's x. 2 plus 1 is 4. So it's 42x is less than 15. The x by itself, since they're multiplied, we divide both sides by 42. 42's cancel. X is less than 15 over 42. Okay, we can go further. We know that 15 and 42 both have a number in common. We know that 3 goes into both of them. How do we know that? If we take the digits of 15 and add them together, if this answer is divisible by 3, then that means that number is divisible by 3. Likewise, we have 42. That's 4 plus 2 is 6, and 6 is divisible by 3, so we know 3 goes into 42. 15 is made up of 3 times 5. Three goes into 42. 3 goes into 4 one time. 3 fits into 4 one time, with 1 left over. 3 fits into 12 4 times. So it's 3 times 14. The 3's cancel, so our final answer is x is less than 5 over 14. Graphically, 5 over 14, since it's a less than, no line underneath it, it's an open circle. Only when x is on your left side, follow the direction of the arrow. It's shaded this region. It's going to negative infinity. These are all your x's. So there's the graphic one. Now for the interval notation, only use the endpoints. Negative infinity, 5 over 14. This is always a parenthesis. Since that's open, that's a parenthesis. So there we have our 3 ways of writing them out. Alright, but here's the special part of the video. Whenever you have large denominators, here's a chart I call the multiple use LCD chart. This is what it looks like. The first column we'll call that column A. That's where you put your denominators. However many denominators you have, you put them in there. The second column is whatever your denominators are, factor them. In other words, break them down to its smallest numbers. Like if it was 9, it breaks down to 3 times 3. If it's, say, 12, 12 is made up of 3 times 4. 4 is made up of 2 times 2. So 12 is 2 times 2 times 3. And that goes there. You do that for all your denominators. We'll call this column B. The next one is your need column. This is what you need. This is what each of these factors need, so they all have the same numbers. And we'll do an example in a second to show what you mean. And the last column is your LCD. So once you have these first 3 columns filled out, if you multiply B times C, you'll get your LCD. So the LCD equals column B times column C. Alright, let's look at an example. We'll use pretty big denominators. Example. 4 over 15, x. We'll do equal signs first, and then we'll do inequalities. 7 over 25, x minus 1 over 6. So I'll make my chart table, my denominators, that's column A. The factor part, call that column B. The need column, that's column C. And the LCD is column D. Now, since I have 1, 2, 3, I need 3 particle parts. Basically, is once you have your heading set up, since you have 3 decimals, 3 denominators, you need 2 lines. That separates into 3 areas. If you had 5 denominators, you need 4 lines. Okay, so my denominators are 15, 25, and 6. 15, 25, and 6. What is 15 made up of? 3 times 5. 25 is made up of 5 times 5. And 6 is made up of 2 times 3. Okay, so let's begin. This is now let's fill in the needs column. So this first one, it has a 3. Does this one have a 3? No, so it needs a 3. Does this one have a 3? Yes. So all 3 of these have 1 3. This one has a 5. This one has a 5. This one doesn't, so it needs a 5. Okay, that's all for the first one. This is the second one. It has a 5. That one's got a 5. That one's got a 5. It has another 5. So we need another 5 there. And we need another 5 here. Okay, so far we have 1 3 and 2 5s. 1 3 and 2 5s. 1 3 and 2 5s. So far everybody's getting the same. Now, but the last one has a 2. This one doesn't have a 2, so it needs a 2. If this one doesn't have a 2, it needs a 2. So each one of these now have a 2, 3, and 2 5s. 2, 3, 2 5s. 2, 3, 2 5s. If we multiply the B and C, all of these numbers times these, we get the LCD. 3 times 5 is 15. 5 times 2 is 10. 15 times 10 is 150. 25 times 6 is 150. 6 times 25, we just did that, that's 150. So that's how we find our LCD. That's the first cool thing about this table. So let's work the way we've been doing it. Once we find the LCD, we multiply each term by the LCD. So it's 150 times 4 over 15x equals 150 times 7 over 25x minus 150 times 1 over 6. Because all I did was, each of the terms, I simply put a 150 in front of them. I put them in parentheses and put a 150. Okay, that's according to the rules. Now we cancel, we reduce. How many times does 15 go into 150? Well, if we don't know that, look at the needs column. 5 times 2. That's what goes in there. How many times does 25 go into 150? Well, go here. 6 times. How many times does 6 go into 150? It goes in there 25 times. So by using this, it tells us what our coefficients are going to be. So it's 10 times 4x equals 6 times 7x minus 25 times 1. Now we go ahead and solve. 10 times 4 is 40x. 6 times 7 is 42x. 25 times 1. Now we solve. Remember, always move the smaller to the larger. Okay. If you have x's on both sides, always move smaller x to larger x, because that way it'll always be a positive coefficient. Because if we moved 42 over here, then it'd be a negative. We don't want that. So move the 40x. 40 minus 40 is 0. 42 minus 40 is 2. Now, move the 25 over. So we're trying to get x by itself, so we get rid of the 25. So we add 25 to both sides. We add it because it's a negative 25. 0 plus 25 is 25. 2x, and these cancel. And divide by 2. So x is equal to 25 over 2. There's your answer. Okay. Yeah, now this, we can actually skip. We can skip that step right there. If you understand this, great. But if you notice, by using this chart here, we can skip this whole middle part. We can go straight from here to here. So we know here, I'll show you how. 4 over 15x, 7 over 25x, 1 over 6. This is a shortcut. So we have our table, we have our denominators, we have our LCD. So we know each of these numbers fits into the LCD. And this is how we make them fit. With a 10, a 6, and 25. So we can just get rid of our denominators and put these numbers, the 10 in front of the 4x, the 6 in front of the 7x, and the 25 in front of the 1. Because we know the numbers are going to cancel, and that's what's going to be left. we continue from there. So yeah, even though it doesn't look like much, it took a big chunk out. It's a lot of writing and thinking. So we go from hard to easy, and we solve the rest of it the way we just did. Alright, so let's look at another example. Four over 18 minus 3 over 15x. Let's make it 2 over 15. Less than 1 over 30. X. Make our table. Our denominators. Remember, since we have 3 denominators, I need 2 lines. That cuts it into 3 pieces. The first one is 18. The next one is 15. The last one is 30. Then we have that of a factor in the need columns before we get our LCD. This column A, column B, column C, column D. Eventually we're going to multiply these two to get that. So, what is 18 made up of? 18 is made up of 9 times 2. 9 is made up of 3 times 3 times 2. So 18 is 3 times 3 times 2. 15, 3 times 5. And 30 is 3 times 10. 10 is made up of 2 times 5. So 30 is 3 times 2 times 5. That's the hardest part, actually. Now, this first one has a 3. This one has a 3. This one has a 3. Okay, they all have 1 3. But this one has 2 3s, so it needs another 3. This one needs another 3. So they all have 2 3s. This one has a 2. This one needs a 2. This one has a 2. So 2 and 2 3s. 2 and 2 3s. 2 and 2 3s. So they all have that. This one has a 5 though. This one needs a 5. This one has a 5. So since they all have a 2, 2 3s and a 5. 2, 2 3s and a 5. 2. So the LCD is going to be 3 times 3 is 9, times 2 is 18, times 5. Multiply all these and this gives us our LCD. That gives us 90. 5 times 2 is 10. 10 times 9 is 90. So we know that all of these are going to be 90. The needs column, these numbers will be our new coefficients. I'm predicting that this first equation will have a 5 in front times 4. The second equation is going to have a 6 times 2x. The last one's going to have 3 times 1x. Because once we get rid of, just erase the bottom numbers and put these numbers in front. That's what I'm predicting. So let's look at the old-fashioned way. 90 times 4 over 18 Now we have to put the LCD in front of each term. 90 times 2 over 15x less than 90 times 1 over 30x. How many times does 18 go into 90? 5 times. How many times does 15 go into 90? 6 times. How many times does 30 go into 90? 3 times. So we got 5 times 4, 6 minus 2x, 3 times 1x. That's exactly what I predicted. Multiply to get rid of the parentheses. 5 times 4 is 20, minus 6 times 2 is 12x, less than 3 times 1 is 3x. Now we solve. Move the smaller x to the larger. Negative 12 is smaller than 3. So we add 12x to both sides. So the 12's cancel. 20 is less than 12 plus 3 is 15x. Divide by 15 to get rid of the coefficient. So that becomes x over here. But 20 and 15, they both have a 5 in common. 20 is made up of 4 times 5. 15 is made up of 3 times 5. Cancel the 5s, so we're just left with 4 over 3. We want the x on the other side, so we just flip them around. Move the x's. But remember, the arrow is pointing to the 4/3. It has to do the same. It's greater than, it's a strict inequality, so it's an open circle. Since the x is on the left-hand side, whenever the x is on the left-hand side, we just follow the direction of the arrows. So it says shade, going this way to positive infinity. That's the graphic. Then take our endpoints, open circle, infinity, and there you have it. Alright, so that's the special video I wanted to show you all on how to use that table for larger denominators, or even for smaller if you have trouble with it. Alright, good luck.